If you're struggling to achieve depth with your barbell back squat, then you might want to give this a listen. It might not be that you're using too heavy of a weight or that you're just not strong enough. It might be that you've misunderstood the biomechanics or the technique of a barbell back squat in relation to your lever lengths. Now, let's look at the basics of a squat through the eccentric portion of the movement, the down part, or simply the sitting down part of the squat. To achieve a squat, we are standing upright, and to initiate that downward travel, the hip must go back and the knee must go forward. And if we are doing it correctly, our torso should be a lever, and so should the femur. Okay? Torso and femur. If the hip goes back like that, you can see that this lever must achieve an angle because it's unified. Okay? But depending on your lever length, the visual or the aesthetic of the squat will differ. So it's very important at this point to acknowledge that your squat might not look like the person next to you. And if you are of two different lever lengths and you're trying to squat the same, you could be running into problems. So, person A, they have a long torso and a short femur. Person B, short torso, long femur. If you are person A, you will more than likely have a more upright or close to vertical torso through the squat. There will be obviously varying degrees of that depending on the lever length. If you're someone with a longer femur and shorter torso, you're going to have to achieve probably a greater back angle through the squat. Often I find example A or people close to example A just naturally fall into good squat positions. The work comes if you're more towards person B, because there's usually a kind of an unwillingness for this torso to go into an angle. A lot of people who are like example B will try and keep their chest up through the descent of the squat. They won't send the hip back, they will just utilize the knee travel or knee flexion to achieve the squat. We really don't want to do that. It's just driving everything into the knee. They might feel that they're pushing the hip back, but quite often they're just putting their hips in a posterior tilt, putting unnecessary pressure on their spine. So, if you are someone who has a longer femur and shorter torso, you want to get used to unifying that torso and letting it all come over into and achieve an angle with it so that you can get your depth. Now, if you don't know what you are, your coach can help you. But I think being aware of the different lever lengths and the biomechanics of this, and this just being in your mind and thinking about it, you might be one step closer to achieving a better depth. Of course, I absolutely love talking about this stuff, so feel free to get in touch and we can have a little chat. Cheers.